Hey, I'm Coach Ryan Family here from the Fat Loss Solution, and today I've got another edition of Ask Coach Ryan, or should I say part 3 of a question: how do I deal with typical girl issues? Low back fat, abdominal fat, thigh and butt fat. So today's topic is going to deal with low back fat and how to effectively start to manage it and what causes it. So lower back fat is the worst part of the muffin top. It actually completes the muffin in the back, and it's a true sign that you have lost control of your eating and you're putting yourself at risk for health complications. Now, don't fret about it. We can fix it. It's an easy fix. Love handle and low back fat tend to be related to insulin output and blood sugar control, which are two things that you can manage yourself. Also tying into this big picture is cortisol. So cortisol is what causes abdominal fat. So the whole abominable abdominal fat, the whole abdominal fat, love handle fat, low back fat is all an interrelated continuum. So here's typically what happens. So cortisol and insulin are two hormones in your body. Insulin is a hormone that your body produces as a response to an increase in sugar in your blood. So if you eat a sugar cube, your blood sugar goes up, your body says, hey, there's a lot of sugar in the blood, we need to deal with it, and it secretes insulin to drive that sugar into cells, whether that be brain cells, muscle cells, or fat cells. Cortisol is a stress hormone that is secreted in response to stress. So this is how they relate to each other. First off, they're very, very rarely present in the blood at the same time, and the body uses each to counteract each other. So if cortisol gets very, very high, your body knows that it needs to bring cortisol down, so it tends to, what happens when you're stressed? You eat sugary foods, right? It's stress eating. The body is very smart, so when you're stressed, the body knows it needs to bring cortisol down, so it uses insulin to do that. That's why you reach for sugary foods, blood sugar goes up, insulin spikes up, cortisol goes down. But then you've got another problem. Insulin's going through the roof, the body knows that it needs to bring insulin down, so what does it do? It secretes cortisol to bring insulin down. Then you've got the insulin and cortisol are constantly trying to one-up one another throughout the day, and you end up with a muffin top that completes all the way in the back. So there's a couple things you can do to eliminate the fat abs, fat lower back double whammy. First off, and this is going to sound familiar, you can jack up your fiber intake. Jacking up fiber intake helps deal with toxic estrogens, but it also is a big time blood sugar controller. So working up to 15 grams in the morning and 15 grams in the evening of supplemental fiber on top of what you're already eating is step 1. That's going to help control blood sugar and stabilize it. Step 2 is to eliminate high glycemic foods. So high glycemic foods are things that spike your blood sugar very quickly. Anything that's sugary, starchy for the most part is typically going to be high glycemic. So bread, pasta, sweets, even fruits, sometimes even fruits, fast-acting fruits like pineapple and banana are a poor choice if you're trying to lose body fat because they spike blood sugar quickly. So be really cognizant of what you're putting in your body. As a general rule of thumb, you can't go wrong with proteins and leafy greens. Step number 3 is to always include protein with all your feedings and never have a carb-only meal. You see, the glycemic index, or how fast your blood sugar spikes, is only one piece to the puzzle. There's also glycemic load, insulin load, and those are a function of what you eat together. So for example, if you eat a sugar cube by itself, that sugar is going to enter your blood rapidly and there's going to be a lot of insulin. If you eat one sugar cube and 4 pounds of steak in one sitting, for example, that sugar cube is going to do very little because of the amount of protein that's in there. It's going to help slow down the digestion. So always include protein with all your meals. Never have a carb-only meal if you want to control your lower back fat. And then the next step, I mean, there's probably 10 steps, but this is the last step I'm going to give you for today, is to don't ever allow yourself to go hungry during the day. So when you go hungry and your blood sugar really drops low, again, cortisol goes up and your body's going to want to reach for something sugary. So if you keep your hunger levels, if you keep satiated throughout the day, you won't tend to reach for those sugary foods. So I like to eat on a fairly frequent schedule. just for the simple fact is it keeps me from going into Cookie Monster mode and binging on whatever I can find in front of me. So lots of meats, lots of vegetables. Don't ever let yourself go hungry. If you find yourself starting to get hungry, have a good clean snack with protein, lots of fiber. That's it for this edition of Ask Coach Ryan. I'll talk to you soon.